All right, how's everybody doing? A little apprehensive about tonight's stream just because for the last 20 minutes I've been encountering like every possible technical difficulty with OBS and a few with the VM too. So hopefully it will go swimmingly. We'll see. So recently it has occurred to me that during my compromising Active Directory live streams that take place on TryHackMe's shared network, as I said, it occurs to me that I am sharing my IP address and sometimes inadvertently copying and pasting my password into plain text fields and using all sorts of default passwords, and so that's not good for a cybersecurity professional. So I've decided to do things right and harden my Kali Linux as best I can. I've been doing some research on the topic, and I'm going to share with you some of what I've learned. There's a lot of bad advice out there as to what needs to be secured and what doesn't and how to go about it, and hopefully my advice is slightly less bad. That's what I'm aiming for. I'm going to try to keep everybody's expectations low. I'm aiming for slightly less bad Kali Linux hardening advice. That's what I hope to impart to you. So, with that said, I'm going to share with you some of my research into the subject, and I'm just going to, so you can see I've been working very hard on my compromising Active Directory module notes. Every note of these has like at least a summary and answers section, and I'm adding to that stuff like Windows command line and PowerShell stuff I wish I had known before I had started. Same thing with the Kali Linux command line. And I'm adding to it the hardening your Kali VM notes section. I'm going to make this available in one manner or another, one form or another eventually, as soon as it's, not as soon, but hopefully shortly after it's complete. I have to be very careful about what I promise and what I can follow through on. So yeah, there's that. All right, so I'm just going to read the first paragraph for you because this is what I've authored. Some of this is machine learning authorship, but when using Kali Linux within TryHackMe's shared networks, especially during activities like streaming on platforms such as YouTube or Twitch, hardening your virtual machine is crucial. Kali Linux is specifically designed for penetration testing and comes pre-installed with numerous powerful hacking tools. While these tools are essential for ethical cybersecurity testing, they also introduce significant vulnerabilities if not properly secured. This makes Kali Linux a double-edged sword. The very tools and security policies that enable you to hack can enable others to hack you. So, and we're going to look at that a little more in depth in application security. I'll just foreshadow a bit there. So, for example, let's see. If you were to install AppArmor, AppArmor is a Linux kernel security module that provides a mechanism for enforcing mandatory access control MAC policies. It handles the security of a system by confining programs to a limited set of resources, thereby restricting their capabilities and minimizing the potential damage they can cause if compromised. However, important AppArmor could potentially interfere with certain activities related to ethical hacking on TryHackMe, depending on what you are doing and how AppArmor is configured. You can spot the machine's contribution to some of this. I usually don't talk about ethical hacking, just because ethics is kind of its own discipline and requires more attention than I think most people who speak on the subject give it. AppArmor enforces security policies that restrict the capabilities of applications, which can limit or block actions that are common in penetration testing and ethical hacking. So, that being said, I mean, some of the people who have the laxest security policies that I've seen are people in the cybersecurity industry. For whatever reason, you just kind of have this attitude that it can't happen to me because I'm armed with knowledge. I've seen professional pen testers use default passwords for Kali Linux, and it's disconcerting. It's a little concerning. anyways, that being said, so but the point of all that is that we have, as cybersecurity professionals, not that I'm a professional yet, but I aspire to be one, practitioners, let's say, laxer security postures than most people, I think. And some of that is just some weird psychology, and some of it is out of necessity, because you have to have a laxer security policy in order to pen test. You know what I'm saying? Like, so for example, the AppArmor stuff that we just referenced. That being said, first thing we gotta do is change your password. So this note is very short. I don't know why it's not PASSWORD. It seems like trivially longer, and that much easier for novices to guess. Let's go ahead and type that in now. What's my current password? I have a password manager, and that's one of the things I'm gonna go ahead and suggest everybody do for themselves, is get a password manager such as KeePass that we implemented in task 5 and 6. So I'm just going to paste my password in, and I'm going to generate a new password. And one of the other things I'm going to do, I'm not going to do this on stream because it's something I kind of came up with in just the last few minutes. Like I said previously, I have a tendency to accidentally copy and paste my password in plain text fields. Sometimes even, sending them in a Google search, which is bad enough, but doing it live on stream or on live stream, whatever, is also very, very bad. So I'm working in conjunction with chat. I want to give credit where credit is due in creating a script that will keep sudo alive for the duration of a session or any number of minutes, so that I don't have to keep copying and pasting and being prone to errors in that way. And that kind of brings me to my first or second point, I guess, third point. I don't know how many points I've made up until this point, but security is not a one size fits all sort of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, ideally, we'd all have AppArmor installed, and the majority of people probably should install AppArmor, but again, that's going to interfere with some of our pen testing possibilities. So, it might not make sense for us to do that. That being said, let's see what else we have in store for this short live stream. Number 2, we're going to update, upgrade, and fix. Number 3, install and configure a firewall. Did you know that Kali Linux does not come installed with a firewall pre-installed? 4, improve SSH security. 5, application security. We might skip this one. Secure boot settings. We might skip that one as well. File system security. We'll look into that. Network security. This is the part of the live stream that kind of makes me worry. The intrusion detection systems, it's pretty complicated. The other stuff is pretty straightforward. Then 10, audit and monitoring, and 11, backup and recovery. And all right, so a lot of this is going to go very quickly, and then we're going to hit a roadblock at 9, I imagine. Update, upgrade, and fix. Update Kali. You probably know all this, but let's go over it for those who don't. Sudo apt-get update. Upgrade the entire distro and then upgrade the entire distro and attempt to identify and repair any issues with sudo apt-get switch y, dist upgrade, fix missing, and fix broken. And a lot of people I've encountered, they want to run every switch independently in a specific chronological order, thinking that you have to do one before the other. That, in my experience, is that is not necessary. You can run every switch all in one command, and Kali will figure it out. This is why I have the robot read. I should have just copied and pasted this all into Balboca. Let's just look at the components of the command, you know, sudo apt-get. This is the package management command line tool used in Debian-based distributions to handle package operations such as installation, removal, and upgrading. Interacts with the advanced packaging tool apt system. I've seen a lot of people, spoiler alert, we're going to install Snort, insist on making your Kali Linux basically Ubuntu compatible in order to install Snort, and I don't think that's necessary. TAC-Y, this option stands for yes. When used with apt-get, it automatically answers yes to all prompts and questions that might typically require user confirmation. This is useful when running commands and scripts or non-interactive sessions where manual intervention is not desired. And this is why we're doing this before improve SSH security, because some of the changes we're going to make in SSH kind of screw this up and require interaction beyond yes no answer. Dist upgrade, this subcommand of apt-get is used to upgrade the entire distribution to the latest available versions of all installed packages. Unlike the simpler upgrade command, dist upgrade intelligently handles changing dependencies with new versions of packages. It may remove existing packages or install new ones to fulfill dependency requirements for the upgrade. Fix missing. This option instructs apt-get to attempt to fix missing dependencies during the upgrade process and fix broken. It scans the system for any packages that are installed but have missing dependencies, which can occur if an installation was interrupted or if the package management system is in an inconsistent state. All right, and some of these commands, depending on how long you've been running your VM, can take forever, just about. So you can see I've done some of this off stream just to save us some time. Sudo apt-get update. Even though I had just installed this version of, or just ran this, the latest VM off of Kali's website, it still required an apt-get update. And here's the results of sudo apt-get -y dist upgrade fix missing fix broken. You can see even on a new installation, I'm not going to use the scroll. I'm just going to pull this down. So this probably took 10 minutes, and on my laptop where I've been running my VM for a little bit longer, it took probably 30 minutes, I would imagine. It was crazy. All right, back to install and configure Firewall. Kali Linux by default, and I didn't realize this, I just been blissfully unaware and not so happy afterwards finding out that there is no firewall running in the background when you first install Kali Linux. So there is no active firewall configured out of the box. This means that when you install a fresh copy of Kali Linux, the firewall, typically iptables or its front end, UFW, is not set up and running. Install and configure the uncomplicated firewall. So let's do that now. Simple enough. Oh, Gert? apt-get? No. And I'm going to reach over. Hello, I'm not going to attempt to pronounce your first name, Jean Felix. Okay, I'll attempt it. Moise, I hope I didn't butcher that. Jean Felix, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. I don't feel as if I'm deserving of any king title other than my nephew calls me the King of Cats because the cats really seem to love me. So, King of Cats, but not so much the Bonagachis. I've kind of fallen behind on all the new JO felony package upgrades and whatnot. Alright, let's see here. I am looking for... It's Frenchier and fancier than that. I appreciate it. I did fine, okay. Glad to hear it. Thank you for joining us again. It's always better when people interact with the stream, so I'm not just talking to myself like a crazy person. I get to talk to other people like I'm a crazy person. Now we're going to want to enable it. And we're going to want to be sudo to do that, apparently. because we don't want commenters to have firewall capabilities. All right, firewall is active and enabled on system startup. And finally, let's see, determine its status. Well, it already told us. Correction, you get to talk to other crazy. Yeah, we're all crazy in our own way, right? And then the notes I'll share later. They have instructions to temporarily disable UFW for networking troubleshooting if you need to do that, to enable and re-enable it. And by the way, let's just take a look at it together. And to disable it permanently, and to get it to start on boot. I have not had real good luck with some of these CTL and MD commands. And it looks like it's enabled on system startup anyway, so I don't really want to even attempt that command and potentially screw something up. So, firewall, that's good. Improve SSH security. Now, in my research, I came across some really weird advice on improving SSH security. Have I heard about Wi-Fi pineapple clones? Because I'm open a can of worms and cheap projects for you. I would love to find out about that. Yeah, if you could provide me with links, that would be lovely. I've been looking for pineapple clones and also some sort of like there's a project called the Pocket Fisher, which I want to do next, which creates like man-in-the-middle bad SSIDs and that sort of thing. But yeah, please, definitely. Or if you want to message me in Discord, that'd be good too. So some YouTubers have suggested that you need to delete all your SSH keys and regenerate them. So, and saying that, you know, when you deploy a Kali VM, everybody's going to have the same SSH keys. Hi Trent, welcome back. We're hardening our Kali Linux to as best we can in lieu of recent events, you know, the vandalism on the TryHackMe servers. But what actually happens is Kali is generating their keys for not just every installation, but every VM deployment, as far as I know. So says chat. And so yeah, so we're not going to delete and regenerate SSH keys. However, we are going to consider changing the default SSH port. Edit etc SSHD config to change the default SSH port from 22 to a non-standard port. We're going to consider that, but we're not going to do that because I feel it's a little bit like security through obscurity. And so we're going to move right on to disable root login in etc SSHD config, set permit root login to no. So let's do some of that, shall we? I'm gonna, I minimized when I want it in a different window so that I can read some of that. Excuse me. All right, so let's clear this out so we get a little more room. You can see I'm working with a fresh deployment of Kali Linux. The Kali logo is atrocious. It's awful, and this wallpaper makes it even worse somehow. So I think if you want to harden your Kali Linux, step number 12 is going to be to replace the wallpaper. It actually makes me angry how bad it is. All right, so now you can see that this is something that confused me as a beginner, so I'm just going to mention it briefly here. You can see we don't have an etc folder here, but if we just cd etc, all of a sudden we're in etc. How's that possible? Well, that's the full path. So the default path is to put you in your home directory, which is somewhere in the middle of the folder hierarchy. So we're going to the top of the hierarchy to the root directory. etc/etc is the full path there. So I'm sure everybody knows that. It's a little humorous to me that surprised me when I was starting out. Yeah, I can't imagine anybody liking the wallpaper. Like this I hopefully did not pass like a committee, like Mr. Cali or whoever just decided that was going to be the wallpaper without running it by anybody. So now what do we want? Let's see, SSH. And let's just take a look at what's there. So yeah, other YouTubers have suggested deleting all these keys and regenerating them, but as far as I know, that's not necessary. Any installation and any VM deployment generates those at first boot, so nothing to see there. Now we're going to nano sshd config, and we're gonna control F, and what are we looking for? We're looking for permit root login. So what you're seeing here, the commented out values are actually the default values. So them being commented is really no different than them being uncommented, because you're basically just you're explicitly enforcing the default settings. So what do we want here? Permit login, root login, prohibited password. That just means that if you want to log in as root, you're going to have to use the SSH keys. We don't want anyone to log in via SSH as root, password or no, and that's why we're putting no there. All right, and then the next thing we want to do is use key-based authentication, disable password authentication by setting password authentication no, and use SSH keys instead. So for all other users, no passwords, you got to use SSH keys. All right, so let's control find authentication, and let's find it again, and let's find it another time, and I'm not seeing it. Is there anything similar? Let's look for password. Let's look for it again. All right, I must have misspelled something. Password authentication for SSH? Absolutely not. And so those are the two values that we're going to do in order to slightly better secure SSH. All right, Control X, save modified buffer. Yes, file name to write looks good. Error right, and we didn't sudo our way in. I don't know why it didn't stop me to begin with. I'm probably sure it did. Let's just get out of here and start all over again. All right, let's write in the full path here. And nano sshd and sudo nano and home. And again, I only pretend to be the world's most okay hacker, so hopefully that's why you're here, to see me struggle and encounter all the passwords or all the problems that you're going to encounter too. And still, is that flashing on? What the heck is going on? All right, so Restream Chat is always on top, and that was hiding my password manager. All right, control find. What's the first thing we want to find? Permits. All right, good. And Trent, thank you for commiserating with my mistake. I'm sure a lot of people do it more than they realize or are willing to admit. Amoise, Jean Felix. Can I just call you Felix? If you're still with us, please share those links to the pineapple stuff and or in Discord. I am very much looking forward to that now that you've made me aware of the possibilities. All right, and next, password, because I can spell that better than authentication apparently. And we're gonna go to the end and no, and Control X, save buffer, aim to right, and we're good. Did you? I'm not seeing them. I'm looking at the restream chat though, which might they might not be available there for whatever reason. With one has details on building out the custom firmware, the other has a list of pre-made firmwares ready to download. Cool. I'm looking forward to checking that out. And now, application security. Again, we're gonna skip over, remove unnecessary applications, remove applications that are not needed for your tasks. I need just about everything that comes installed with Kali and then some. So once I get done here, I'm gonna install Pimp My Kali and a bunch of other Pi scripts. Configure application security. Ensure applications are configured with security in mind. For web applications, consider using tools like Mod Security. So that's important. And then AppArmor is recommended. However, it could potentially interfere with certain activities related to ethical hacking on TryHackMe. Again, any mention of ethics, that's probably ChatGPT saying that. Secure boot settings, BIOS, UEFI, password. Set up a password on BIOS UEFI to prevent unauthorized changes. Bootloader password, set a password on group bootloader. Again, I'm not too concerned about that. File system security, similarly, use encrypted file systems. Encrypt sensitive data using Lux DMCrypt. Set appropriate permissions. Regularly audit file and directory permissions, especially for sensitive files. Network security disabled unused network services. Disable services that are not needed. System CTL disable service. Monitor network traffic. Use tools like Wireshark, TCM, TCP dump, or NetStat to monitor network traffic. Yeah, Felix, if you could, maybe some sort of fail-safe redundancy, if you could put them in the Discord, I would very much appreciate that, just to make sure that we don't miss out. And we're skipping over that, and now here's where we're going to run into problems. Intrusion detection systems, IDS. This is why I have the robot read it. Installing Snort on Kali Linux is a relatively straightforward process, I would imagine. Let's add that in there. Since Kali is designed for security professionals, it includes a wide range of security tools in its repositories. Here are the steps to install Snort on Kali Linux. Now, yeah, sometimes YouTube does that. I think Discord is more forgiving in that regard. So, in my research, which was conducted over the past 2 days, I wasn't streaming. A lot of people install Snort. First, they basically make Kali Linux, which is Debian, compatible with Ubuntu in order to install Snort. But I haven't found that to be super necessary. And we'll find out to what extent it is, but I have a alternate method here too. Hi Obscenity, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. We've changed our password. We've updated, upgraded, and fixed using all the apt-get switches. We've installed and configured a firewall. We've improved SSH security, and then we've skipped 5, 6, and 7, 8, and we're now on trying to install Snort. And this is where I think we're going to run into some problems, because I attempted this earlier and it was a little more difficult than is indicated here. And like I said, other YouTubers, I've seen them go through a lot more rigmarole. So we're not going to worry about configuring Snort or reading the logs at this point. We're just going to focus on trying to get it work. We've already done sudo apt updates. Install switch Y. Some people say tac apparently. Ooh, nice little progress bar. So maybe it is just that easy. Let's see. Some of the instructions I'm getting here are counter-indicated. Configure Snort. During the installation, you will be prompted to configure Snort. You will need to provide the network interface that Snort should monitor and the home network range. If you miss this step, you can always configure it later. Determining your home network. Okay, range. That's not necessary. Verify the installation. It looks like it was okay, but let's do that just in case. All right. 3.1.82.0. Snort successfully validated the configuration with 0 warnings, and then it's got a little pig emoticon, so that's fine. What is, I don't know, double dash? I'm going with double dash. I'm gonna create my own lexicon as I go along and pretend like it's canon. Alright, create the Snort service file, a terminal, and create a new service file. Okay, so that should be to maybe get it to start boot, I would imagine. Let me double check my notes real quick, and I'm going to see what else I needed to look here. All right, if we run the status, I think that'll give us some good information. Active, inactive, dead. So we're gonna have to enable it. Now imagine that's something super simple like sudo systemctl. Enable Snort. Okay, but I should probably put a space in there somewhere. It's enabled. Where is status? All right, instead of being lazy, I'll just type it out again. Still dead. So I imagine we have to start it. Okay. So in addition to telling us whether it's active or inactive, if it is active, it gives us important information. This was hard for me to track down. This is the configuration file here. So Mario Kart Double Dash, and then okay, that's an important command. I will test that one out too. But yeah, so this is the config file, I'm pretty sure, and that's where it's located. It was a little difficult to find. And then here's where the logs go. And we're not going to dive into that just yet. So I want to see what this does. Obscenity, are you familiar with running Snort and reading the logs and such? And here's a couple of things to keep in mind when configuring Snort, which again, we're just getting it up and running in tonight's stream. BitNinja, does that come recommended? Understanding our particular use case, if your Kali VM uses a VPN on an additional virtual interface, deciding whether to monitor Etho with Snort depends on the specific traffic and security goals you have in mind. Here's an analysis to help you make an informed decision. Spoiler alert, it's probably going to be Etho 0, which itself is a virtual interface because it's a virtual machine, but it's our physical analog. Gotcha. Only recommend it for real servers. Understanding the interfaces. Etho 0, typically this interface connects your VM to the external network or the internet. Traffic on this interface is not encrypted by the VPN and includes all outgoing and incoming traffic before it enters the VPN tunnel. So monitoring Etho 0, or I'm sorry, the VPN interface isn't going to be super helpful because it's going to be encrypted. So monitoring considerations, again, this is, I'm sure a lot of people in chat know all this. Some of this is new to me, and I'm trying to develop some of the learning materials with beginners in mind. So monitoring considerations, monitoring Etho 0 visibility, you will see unencrypted traffic that leaves your VM and enters the VPN tunnel. Use case, this is useful if you want to inspect the raw data being sent and received by your VM before it gets encrypted by the VPN. It can help identify suspicious activities. I really hope at some point I get better at reading, or potential data leaks that occur before the encryption process. Can you believe I used to do this for a living for a few years overseas, teaching English in Korea and Kuwait? Monitoring VPN interface visibility, you will see encrypted traffic. To inspect this traffic meaningfully, it would need to be decrypted first, which Snort cannot do on its own. Use case, useful for analyzing traffic patterns and volume, but limited in inspecting content without decryption capabilities. Practical scenario. Since VPN interface is handling the VPN, and given that monitoring encrypted traffic directly is of limited use without decryption, it makes sense to monitor Etho 0 in most practical scenarios. And this is kind of redundant of what it said previously. How your network traffic is being routed. However, it's important to determine how your network traffic is being routed. Generally, when you connect to a VPN, your traffic is routed through the VPN interface, in this case, VP interface, and not directly through the default network interface, Etho 0. Like TC dump. Yeah, and I think that can be kind of a substitute. Understanding VPN traffic routing. VPN interface handles all the traffic that is encrypted and routed through the VPN. Typically, once the VPN is connected, all your internet traffic is routed through this interface to ensure privacy and security. Default network interface, Etho 0. Before the VPN connection, this interface handles all your network traffic. But after the VPN connection, it generally only handles the VPN tunnel traffic itself, not your actual internet traffic. However, I think every one of these paragraphs should start with however. There's a lot of considerations here. Tunnel types. To determine whether you are using a split tunnel or a full tunnel VPN, we need to understand how your traffic is routed. Here's a quick explanation and how to verify split tunnel versus full tunnel. Full tunnel, all your network traffic is routed through the VPN interface. This means both your internet and local traffic go through the VPN. Split tunnel, only specific traffic, usually destined for certain networks, is routed through the VPN interface, while the rest, typically internet traffic, goes through your regular network interface. Does anybody know? We just paid Arctic Wolf to do all our intrusion detection. Oh. I'm vaguely familiar with Arctic Wolf. Are they like security as a service? Milliblocks, welcome back. Determining your VPN configuration, check IP address, etho IP. This is your local IP address. And then, of course, VPN. Check the routing table. Use the following command to view your routing table. IP routes. Look for the default route and specific routes related to the VPN. Identify routes. If the default route is through the VPN interfaces, likely a full tunnel. If there are specific routes through VPN interface and a separate default route through etho O0, it indicates a split tunnel. So here is some example output. So if the default is your home IP address, then it's split, looks like. I'm tempted to fire up TryHackMe and see whether we have a full tunnel or a split tunnel. In general, a split tunnel VPN configuration is considered more vulnerable to intrusion compared to a full tunnel configuration. Here's a breakdown of why this is often the case. All right. So I'm going to make these notes available. I'm not going to read them out loud. What do you think about firing up TryHackMe and finding out if we have a... Does anybody know if, when we connect to the TryHackMe networks, if it's a split or full tunnel? I'm a little bit curious. THM is full tunnel, but only tunnel stuff that matches the subnet. Interesting. It's split, otherwise all your traffic would be going out of it. I had kind of assumed it would be split. But isn't only tunneling stuff that matches the subnet, isn't that kind of the same way of saying it's a split tunnel? I don't know. This is... So being split only 10, traffic is routed over the tunnel. I'm going to obfuscate my login details real quick here. Bear with me as I find the correct button. I lost my streak. I'm back down to 0. All right, let's just connect to any room. All right, no, let's connect to a network. Me.com and access. This is going to be weird to have only one OVPN connection or configuration file. I keep waiting for everything to auto-suggest, but of course, that's not happening. I don't think that's the command. I think it's like open VPN. All right, initialization. I've got to practice that in the mirror at home. Control-Shift T. I haven't been on THM in so long. I slipped down from 4% to top 7%. They redid how they evaluate where you are in the rankings. So I slipped from like 3 to 8. So I don't think it's necessarily that people are just surpassing you. I think it's they sent out a message at one point saying that they were reevaluating how they calculated everybody's ranking. So I think it's probably more that than anything else. All right, what are our commands to figure out? Do I have to configure? I probably don't have to configure DNS, do I? Default via 192.168, so that would probably be, yeah. So if the default is via the home IP, then it's split. So it looks like it's split. So we learn something new every day. I assumed but didn't know. I just built a new keyboard and cannot type worth of crap on it. Built it. That's pretty cool. I won't get into the details, but a while ago I found a way to hack a keyboard such that it basically became a key logging device. Not to put too fine a point on it. That could be exploited remotely. Audit and monitoring, regular audits, regularly audit system logs. Okay, let's go back to our notes. So again, you can see I kind of went down a rabbit hole with the IDS stuff with Snort, just in terms of getting it installed. It's funny that it installed so simply because, again, I've seen on other YouTube videos as recently as, a year ago, they're trying to make Kali Ubuntu compatible in order to install Snort on it. So I don't think this is a recent development. I think it's just always been this easy to install Snort. Audit and monitoring, regular audits, regularly audit system logs and configurations using tools like Audit D. Use log monitoring tools. LogWatch or Splunk can help monitor and analyze logs. Also, I think I'm going to do a video on Snort. There are some GUI applications you can use to help augment Snort. My keyboard has these crappy metal clips to hold the keys. They always fold in and it is hard to clean it because of that. I switched to a column stack split design and it is taking longer to get used to than I thought it would. Like one of those ergonomic ones where your hands are like this. Kali by default is pretty secure. Any package with a network related service is disabled by default. Yeah. I'm learning now that this didn't really make for the holistic stream that I had hoped it would. We're just about finished. Regular backups. Implement regular backup procedures and ensure backups are stored securely. Test recovery plans. Regularly test your recovery procedures to ensure you can quickly restore operations in case of an attack. Although it has been nearly an hour, so I guess that's pretty par for a course. I'm halfway tempted to continue on exploit AD. Halfway tempted, that is. Let me bring my notes up again. We'll see where the network is in terms of being able to reboot it. Interesting. I had a... I'll just bring Discord over real quick. Hopefully I'm not... I don't want to blow up anybody's spot or give away any sensitive info, but let's see if here are some of the mods I used to do. And I had so I vinyl dyed this keyboard and did some LED mods. This is obviously from way back when. That's the only keyboard mod I really did, other than this is when you couldn't get backlit keyboards. You couldn't buy them off the shelf. You had to make your own. Have you ever used LinPs before? It's another good hardening tool, finding small things like SUID binaries and world readable files. No, but I will check it out now that you've mentioned it. This is an old Lanley PC 60 mod. And fun fact, I just found these drive plates. Yeah, the spray can stuff, but instead of painting, it actually is absorbed into the plastic, so you can't possibly get a bad spray job on it, and it doesn't chip. But the stuff is pretty toxic, and I'm wondering if it's responsible for some of my more recent health problems. And of course, my Capcom Mini Cute. This is after the painting and sticker application. And this is only as far as I got it. It's currently in storage. But I plan to make a mini cute 3D printable version, like a bar top or countertop, they call them now. And then this is my more recent, this is my current desktop, if you're interested in checking out all the mods on that. But yeah, the closest I ever came to making a keyboard was putting some lights in it and vinyl dyeing it. My media server uses a case that had this hairy feeling coating on it. It degraded very badly, had to spend hours scraping it off. Was it anything like the Bitfinex Prodigy cases? If you've seen those, they had kind of like a plastic coating, but it felt kind of rubbery more so than hairy or plastic. What was I doing? I'm so easily distracted. Cool. Let's take a look at it. Let me bring up my Discord window again. That's pretty awesome looking. That's cool. I very much like it. Yeah, I would imagine that would take a little while to get used to, though. Just looking... Felix, if you're still there, I'm not seeing any of the links. I would very much appreciate if you could put them in Discord. We can check them out, maybe. Where are we on resetting? 3 of 5. I guess we can do 4 of 5. What the heck? Might as well. All right. Thanks for the all caps shouting at me. Let's see if I have the Discord link. Few updates to the site. Spinning head. Here's the Discord link. All right, so that's all I have in terms of making Kali Linux more secure. The amount of research and work I put into this, I really thought it was more substantial, both in terms of work in actually securing it and providing me content for a live stream. However, we're pretty much accomplished everything that we've set out to do. The main points were changing our password, obviously updating, upgrading, and fixing, installing and configuring the firewall, improving SSH security a little bit, and getting IDS to work, getting Snort to work, which, you know, I guess no small feat considering what I've seen other YouTubes do in terms of trying to get Snort to work and doing weird things with SSH that are not entirely necessary. And then, of course, audit and monitoring and backup and recovery. And I think we're right at 1 hour. So, yep, 57 minutes. I am going to attempt to... Where did we leave off? That's the keep ass one. And we got the flag, but we just figured it out. Trent got the first part. I figured out the second part. So that's not the real way to do it. And I did try to do this offline. I got further than we did on stream, but it seemed like somebody was still messing with the server. And I got up to the trying to RDP with the credentials that we had. And at that point, it stopped working. And as I mentioned before, I'm not crazy because I've seen other YouTuber streamers streaming TryHackMe stuff also coming to the conclusion that the servers have been vandalized. So I'm going to attempt this. We'll see how far we get. Any objections? All right, so let's get started. First things first, let's see. Exploit AD. Without it autofilling, I don't entirely remember the commands. I think it's just the IP address and then the interface name, but I'm going to double check. I have a cheat sheet here. So it's the interface and then IP. I'm not sure if that makes a difference, but whatever. Exploit AD and the IP address of our domain controller. Upsending, appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you there. And I've screwed something up. First command that I type in, it is incorrect. Because I cannot spell. And I still can't spell. Felix, appreciate it. Oh, it's not found because it's not installed. Sure, why not? All right, here we go. Should prompt me for a password. What is going on? Failed to set DNS configuration, failed to activate service, timed out. Do I have to restart or something? Whoa. Huh. Previously, it would prompt me for a password. And what's the domain here? It's something loc. What, that's supposed to be my interface name? Oh, the domain name and then the... Okay. How lazy I've become relying on autocomplete, huh? That should work. Okay, that's not working. Okay, domain was not a placeholder. Why does it keep saying that? All right, I've got them out of order. The 8th time is the charm. Yay! It did stuff. So far, so good. All right, I'll tell you what. I'm going to take a quick break. If you're interested in seeing me attempt to complete the task 6, exploiting GPOs the right way, before, or hopefully, you know what? If 5 people have voted to reset it already, I'm assuming it's already been screwed up. So I'll tell you what, we're going to take a little break one way or the other, and we'll figure out what we're going to do when we come back. Thank you once again to everybody who's joined me thus far. Felix, Obscenity, Trent, yeah, just everybody, thank you for everything. And I'll be back in 5. Obscenity back again just in time for me to leave. But I'll be back in 10 minutes, let's say. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate everyone. All right, I'm back. What'd I miss? Let's see here. Trent, this Ludo the Great Guy has the same profile picture as you. That's pretty weird. Oh, I see. It's the same person. Obscenity, Dolphin, and RetroArch, it sounds like you're doing some game emulation. Is that correct? I use Recalbox myself on Raspberry Pi because I don't know if all front ends do this, but it supports plugging the joystick, basically wiring the joystick right onto the GPIO header, whereas it seems like other emulators you have to use like some sort of hardware middleman. Alright, let's see if we can get anywhere with this. We're one vote away from resetting the network, although that's probably about 45 minutes away yet. So if we can't get it through it the first time, we may be able to reset the network and rush through it before anybody knows to deface it, but we'll see. Alright, we need credentials, Control F creds, open link in new tab, and again, this is the only way to really know if our DNS is working. Alright, and I don't have any of the directories that I previously had or need, so let's see. CD, no. TryHackMe, CD. It's just exploiting AD, right? Watch this. Control Shift V. Look at that. Alright. And already I'm mad because I don't have this the new command line interface that I had previously installed, just recently upgraded to. Also, I'm now realizing that I didn't save my password in my password manager. Yeah. I mean, how hard would it be for one to just kind of adopt the user interface semiotics of the other, you know what I'm saying? So I agree, it is a pain. Alright, I'm not going to even bother firing up NeoJ4 or Bloodhound. We know all this stuff. We've seen it numerous times now. Should be at least, right? We're going to get right into modifying the GPOs. And to do that, do I need sudo for SSH? And it's not auto suggesting, so again, I have to go back to my cheat sheets. Thank you, TryHackMe, for providing SSH commands at the top of every single room. You wouldn't think I would need it, but I do. Alright, who's our guy? Control Shift C, Control Shift C. It's not Redrick Banks. It is Frederick Banks. Yes. I wonder if somebody could impersonate a host on this network. What do you think? Is it possible? All right, we're in here. No, we weren't supposed to SSH. We were supposed to RDP, weren't we? It's all coming back to me. Oh, you know what? Oh, good thing we have it here. Well, that's the credential database, though. That's not the serveman password. See if I can find that really quick, because it's going to be important. Should have thought this through. I need like a 5th monitor. Okay, so if you remember previously in previous tests, we compromised a KeePass database and we came up with a username and credentials. But because I nuked my VM, my creds text from before is gone. However, I have been able to find serveman's password. So that's a good thing. I have a big TV that kind of doubles as a monitor, but it's like so far up top, it strains my neck using it. 232 TVs as monitors? Yeah, I mean, I guess there's really no difference between TVs and monitors at this point. Oh, excuse me. Is this a thing? Is that a thing? Is it X free? I think it's X free. I probably should just get used to using Regina or whatever, but whatever. What's our work? Trench, don't leave us hanging. Make sure what? And I think we don't want to specify the password. We want it to prompt us for a password. Especially if there's an @ sign at play. Nope. Forgot the shift control. And I don't know if it matters, but let's make sure this is a lowercase u. How much slower this goes when everything doesn't auto suggest? Or how much slower I go, let's say. For crisp text. Got it. Other thing you have to look out for too is TVs are notoriously insecure. Have you guys ever seen the Weeping Angel backdoor? It is pretty scary. Password. I think it was disclosed in the Vault 7 leak. Again, I don't think this is going to work just because we're already three people at least, I was the fourth, say that the network is not working properly for whatever reason. Ooh, and there was a weird window pop up there, which is always kind of suspicious. Command. Yeah, so the Weeping Angel backdoor was basically Samsung TVs had a fake off function, so they could be remotely set to look as if they were off when they're actually fully functional and the microphones were working. And that's one of the ways the CIA is able to bug your house. Alright, run as command using serveman's credentials. Control F, run. Nope, wrong one. Keep going. Keep going. Too far. Okay, it doesn't highlight. Oh, it does. Oh my god. What's up with me not being able to copy the first letter? Can I control U or kill this line? No. What's Hacker and the Fed? Is that like a podcast? I think I first heard about it on Darknet Diaries. Why would I wasn't aware of Google Podcasts, but why would they cancel like something like the overhead on that can't possibly be anything more than $1. All right, we want to do the dir trick here. Nope, not. Now I'm doing Control-Shift-C everywhere. And it's not working because run as didn't work. Why did it spawn another? Window then? Oh, because I'm doing the dir trick in the wrong window, that's why. Oh, not a fan of the Cebu guy. Alright, so we're in. MMC. File, add, remove. No, not options. Bit of lag. My hit confirms are off. Group policy management. And what do I do with it? I add it. And then I say, okay. Access denied. All right. So same problem as before. Trent, when I did this offline, I was able to get past this part as we were able to previously, but it looks like the server has been vandalized again. If nobody is laying in wait for us, we can reset the... Oh, sorry, it's not been an hour yet. All right. Well, our Kali Linux box is hardened, but the TryHackMe exploding AD network, not so much. Yeah. I don't know if they're doing this in real time, but it's definitely somebody's intentionally vandalizing it. All right. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to one day find a brief window of opportunity when it's just been reset and record it as if I'm doing a live stream and then just play the live stream. But yeah, so that's all I had planned for tonight. Is just that running a few commands to shore up some of the vulnerabilities in Kali, and maybe try to get a little bit more done here. But anyways, thank you to Ludo Trent, Obscenity, Felix, and who else joined us for a little bit? Milobox. Thank you very much for joining me. Eventually, we're going to complete some more TryHackMe stuff. And I hope you'll join me for that. Alright. Snort on Arch now? Yeah. I'm gonna dive more into Snort as well. Any final words? I did find that Felix had given me some links in the DMs, and I'll share them on the Discord if you're looking to do some Wi-Fi pineapple cloning. So check that out. I do have Ponagachi plugins planned. A video on the top 10 coming out hopefully sometime soon. And the off-topic Tuesday project is I'm building a countercade, which has gone horribly wrong in 100 different ways. My PLA has been melting in the sun, whereas previously I could make a lot of bike accessories and expose them for years, hours at a time, and they showed no vulnerability to the sun and heat. And for whatever reason, it looks like Hatchbox changed their formulation, and now all my PLA parts are melting. I am going further into debt, upgrading my printers, so I got another Bamboo Labs. The problem is the build area on the next, well, any of the larger Bamboo printers isn't sufficient for printing all the countercade parts. So what I'm going to have to do is get perfect PLA prints, which I can't on the Bamboo Labs because I got to print them in parts, so they're going to require gluing. So that's not an option. I was wrong. So what I'm going to have to do, hopefully this will work, is print SLA on the Bamboo printers. I haven't been able to get perfect prints on my Creality printers. Print them in parts, assemble them, and post-process them. That's the plan going forward. I hope that makes sense. All right. Thank you once again. I appreciate everybody tuning in and chatting with me. I hope this was somewhat helpful, somewhat useful. How big of a plate do I need? Whatever the Max Neo and Creality supports. I think it's like 310 by 310 by 310. And if I remember correctly, the Bamboo Labs is only 256 by 256 by 256. So some of the arcade parts have to be broken up into pieces, glued together, and then post-processed. And hopefully I can do that with SLA. I have an enclosure for it already, but the enclosure is significantly larger than the printer itself, so I'm not sure if that will work. And if that doesn't work, then I have no other ideas other than I'm halfway through printing what's called the MP CNC, mostly printed CNC machine, so you can print most of the parts to a CNC machine and then, you know, buy the drill and some of the other parts, and it'll only run you about $300 for in any size, any dimensions CNC machine. But hopefully it won't come to that because money. All right then. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I hope to get back to streaming TryHackMe streams. Hopefully I can find a window where there's no vandalism. In any event, tune in and see how it goes. Thanks very much. Bye.